And we are live streaming. I just got myself in the beard. All right, guys, Life22 here. Today we are interviewing Amos Krause, and he's got some current circumstances going on, and it's kind of has to do with our New York State drug courts and legalization of marijuana, or the lack thereof. And so we're going to start with his story. In the room we've got Tim the bartender. Hi, Tim.
Hello.
And Amos Krause.
Good afternoon.
All right, so I am going to switch this. I think I got this. And there we go. So, all right, we're gonna let you. The ball is in your court, Amos.
Okay. I had just recently been kicked out of the Olean City Drug Court program, and well, when I first got into the program, they had me go see counselors, several counselors, mental health, substance abuse, and they had ended up putting me on several medications with severe side effects, and I had to go off cold turkey off of them 3 times, just within the past, since I'd say I got out. October 10th was the first time I went off my meds cold turkey, the ones that they prescribed me through these agencies that I was referred to, and they screwed up my meds again on, I think it was in the middle of November. So I went off of them again, and then just recently I went off of them as well, 6 days ago. And the point I'm getting at is I pursued medical marijuana to get off of these meds, because it did help. When I went cold turkey off of them, I used heavy marijuana to cope with it, to cope with the withdrawal symptoms, just the high anxiety, anything really that affected my mind and how I thought. It was all messed up, it was all screwed up, and marijuana helped very well. And so I pursued that. So I had to report it to the Olean City Drug Court, and I asked them if it would be okay if I could pursue medical marijuana to get off all these meds that they put me on, with several severe side effects. One of the side effects in one of the meds I had to take at nighttime, if you were above a certain age, they wouldn't even prescribe it to you because it could cause death. Seizures, side effects, lots of side effects. Like the list is never ending, and I decided to go a different route because of my experiences with, the communication and everything, and prescriptions getting screwed up, and they just keep upping my dose, and when I go off of them, it's pretty hectic. It's almost as severe as opiate withdrawal and alcohol withdrawal. So the point I'm getting at is I pursued medical marijuana instead, just to ease everything, not be prescribed all these medications. And well, when I asked to do that, the Olean City Drug Court program told me I couldn't. And I brought up the fact that I wanted to do this because it helped me get off opiates in the first place, and I didn't pursue Suboxone or methadone. I went to a detox, I got off my opiates, and I smoked heavy marijuana to cope with it. And then once I get put in the system, they referred me to these agencies that would just give me everything in the book. Like, next time you go see them, the dose is doubled, and it's just they keep giving you more and more, and you're taking more pills. And within 6 months, I was taking handfuls of pills multiple times a day, which I never.
Stop you real quick. Did any of that do anything to your you know, like your mental health? Like, was there?
Yeah, it really messed up my mind. Like I said, when I went off of them, you know, you have like slurred speech, which I'm still coping with. You name it. Like, I felt like I was gonna have a seizure. My anxiety's up and down. Like, just instant feelings of like sadness and emotion. You know.
Thoughts of suicide? Anything like that?
No, not. I'm not suicide. I'm not a suicidal person. Like, I haven't had thoughts of suicide. But severe depression. When you go off them, it's like, it's crazy. I've never really experienced that before. Getting off opiates, it was like very physical, high anxiety. But like the emotions with these drugs they hit me on, it's crazy. So
I can imagine.
what I wanted to do was get on the medical marijuana, which can treat the symptoms of my, you know, conditions that they diagnosed me with. So you can use medical marijuana to treat all of those conditions, and it has less side effects. It's not toxic. You know, these drugs are, the drugs they're giving people, it's, you know, and they've only been on the market for, what, 10, 20 years. You know, they're still studying these.
Right.
The only reason these drugs aren't illegal is because they're controlled substances. You gotta love the word controlled substance. That's another word for it is illegal, but the government can give it to you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So why don't they call marijuana that? At least then it could be medical.
Yeah,
Right.
but they won't,
Of course they won't.
because there's too much money invested in
the
these companies.
Oh, in the pharmaceutical
The
companies.
pharmaceutical companies.
Sure, tobacco and alcohol has a stake in the game too. So.
Oh yeah, and
Prison unions.
yep, and the doctors, you know, they're just writing scripts for these companies. You know, we're guinea pigs. That's how I look at it. You know, we're guinea pigs for their research of their drugs, because the doctors have to report back to them. You know, they have to document this. You know.
So you got out of jail. They gave you. So you got on these drugs, and I want to say you wrote a letter to every political figure.
Pretty much, yeah. I just sent it out there. I flooded it, you know, because I really support legalization of marijuana, and marijuana did help me. So I want to be heard here, because, you know, that's the only thing that really helped me. Not the only thing, I believe. You know, my Christianity has helped me too, which I turned to. But, you know, marijuana did help. It was better than getting put on Suboxone or methadone and just getting legal dope, because that's what it is.
Right.
People are selling, people that are on Suboxone in the drug court program are even like, they're using it like as a street drug, like as they're using it as heroin, as a replacement.
Right.
You know, they're putting it in their needles and shooting it up. That's what they're doing. You know, and you can do that with that. So marijuana is the much safer alternative, I think. You know, like a heavy indica, you're good.
So so you wrote this letter for everybody, for all these politicians, anybody who wanted to read the letter, essentially, right?
Yeah.
And
yeah.
And the letter talks about how you got out of jail and you didn't have the ability. There was no.
I got out of detox.
Oh, you got a
detox.
Oh, detox. I'm sorry. You got a detox, and there was no ability to pay for these different drugs they were putting you on.
Yep.
So now you had to go cold turkey.
Yep.
Now you're relying on marijuana.
Yep.
The drug court system kicks you out because because marijuana is illegal.
Yep.
Now, your doctor prescribed this to you?
I got approved for it through Dr. Salutsky in Jamestown. He's in my primary care practice. Yes.
Okay, and I didn't know they could do that in New York State. I guess like every time I turn around, like one state's making it legal and other states aren't. I thought New York was no marijuana across the board. I didn't even think it was like.
Right.
I didn't even think they had it for medical uses, like legal.
I even had a recommendation from my counselor, my substance abuse counselor. She wrote a letter recommending that I get on marijuana and off them drugs too.
Okay.
You know, my treatment program was recommending it, but
The drug court wouldn't
the
allow it
drug
because
court-
it's illegal.
Yep, yep. Even though I could be prescribed it, it's against their policy.
So now you're out of
Even
drug
though I'd
court.
be getting it legally, it'd still be against their policy. But
Man.
Suboxone's okay.
Right?
Methadone's okay.
What's the fake pot? What's the?
K2. They
K2.
test for that. You can't.
No, I know. I was just. No, I was
Yeah.
just. I was wondering. That's. I don't know. I look at that's man-made garbage like Suboxone.
Oh yeah.
Salvia. Salvia.
Yeah.
Yeah, you might as well. Yeah, you might as well be. You might as well be smoking oregano. you
But
know?
I had a doctor and a counselor saying it's okay. You know, I had actually 3 doctors' approvals. My primary doctor, the doctor from WCA, Julie Epperson, and Salutsky, and a counselor. So that's 4 people, like 4 professionals that said yes.
And because you got kicked out of the drug court program, like
Yeah.
because of this, right?
Yeah.
So, getting kicked out of the drug court program, what does that do for?
I have to go back and I have to serve time. I
Okay.
have to serve time on my sentence, so I'll be getting a year in jail here April 16th.
Okay. Day after tax day.
Yep.
To day shy to be the day shy to be paying for a lawyer, huh?
Yeah. I didn't pay for a lawyer anyway, so.
Well, right. I don't blame you. They're gonna throw the book at you.
Yeah,
You know?
they are.
Um,
I'm better
For no reason.
I'm better speaking for myself. I feel that way. I don't like people speaking for me anyways.
Right.
So I'd rather speak myself.
what? If you don't mind me asking, what was the original? You went to detox,
Yeah.
and then you got into drug. Were you in drug
I-
court the entire time, and then what?
Well, no. Well, I was in drug court. This is what happened. I was in drug court. I started drug court when I got sentenced. They sentenced me to drug court, and then if I completed that, my charge would be dropped down to a misdemeanor, and I'd have probation or something. And I started that last January. So, I was going through that. I was good for 8 months, and then over the summer I drank and smoked pot, and you know I took myself to detox. So
Gotcha. Okay, so that wasn't something they
it
prescribed as
was
a part of.
you have to make the decision for yourself. If you
Gotcha.
want sobriety, you have to have the desire. So, you know, I went to detox myself, and then, well, I had alcohol and marijuana in my system, and so I got violated for that. Like I went to a 5-day detox, and I got out, and I got violated for that. I sat in jail for over a month, and then I was sent to a facility to where they put me on more medications than I was on before, and it progressed from there. They let me out of the facility. I didn't have insurance. I kept telling the coordinators I need to renew my insurance, blah blah blah. So when I got out, I couldn't afford any of my meds, which I was on 5 different medications, you know, with severe side effects, and you're not supposed to go off them cold turkey, and that's where it all happened. Like, it was just a roller coaster. So I've been dealing with the marijuana since then. They started my time over, and you know, it was working. I wasn't drinking. I wasn't doing nothing. Like, and then I went off the meds cold turkey twice, and I had to cope with it. And I used marijuana. So, through my trial and error, you know, experiences, I went to my doctor, I went to my counselor, and I went to the doctor at WCA Hospital, and I said, hey, when I went off all these meds, I just smoked heavy marijuana, and it really worked. Like, it calmed me down. It got me to sleep. Everything that I needed, I got from it through this whole bad experience. So, they referred me to the medical marijuana doctor. He okayed it. So I was in the process of getting all that taken care of, and I just told them, I told drug court that I'm pursuing that because the system has failed me. I had to go off these meds twice, and I went in front of the judge, and I told him straight up in a very bad mental state too, and I told him I'm suffering here, you know, and they said, you're doing a good job advocating for yourself. That's all they said. And I'm like, I'm just sitting here. I'm like, these are the professionals. I'm in, I'm under their care. You recommended me to them. And they're giving me all these meds. So, pumping me full of them, handfuls. And then I have to go off of them, cold turkey. And I'm getting no help. So I self-medicated. And then I pursued medical marijuana. And they didn't like that. Even though I had a doctor saying I could have it. 3 doctors and a counselor backing it. Still no go.
What's I mean, what was the reason you got into drug court? Maybe if you don't mind me
I was
asking.
addicted to opiates for, let's say,
So obviously they would treat you with heavier doses of other opiates.
yeah,
Right. Makes total sense.
yeah. So I was prescribed hydrocodone, and for certain things I have issues with pain, and I was prescribed that for, let's say, about a year, and it quit working. And when I didn't have it, I had withdrawal, I got sick, you name it, and the doses kept getting larger because it wouldn't work. And then I got taken off of it abruptly, and I started getting my drugs from the street, like pills, because a lot of people were getting pills at that time. So I'd have to go buy pills. I was even buying them when I was prescribed hydrocodone because that wasn't even working, and I had withdrawal, So I started buying pills. I got addicted to opiates, and then those got too expensive. Heroin's cheaper, So I started getting heroin, and then my friends and I, we all used drugs. Everybody. It was an epidemic. We were all going through the same shit. Like, a lot of people that I hung out with, our lives were just taken over by opiates because there was so much pills around. They had all these doctors giving all these people pills, and they had excess of pills. And they're just getting rid of them because they know there's people like us that need them, and they can make money off of us. So we all started getting pills, and it got really expensive, very expensive, because there was a demand for them, and people had excess pills, and they had the upper hand on you, and they'd sell them to you. So we got addicted to these, and then when they'd run out, we got heroin because that's cheaper. And then eventually we started getting heroin all the time because it was just cheaper. It was the way to go, So we started using that, and I got caught up in some stuff. I don't want to swear too much, but
Shit, fuck, ass. You can swear as much as you want, buddy.
I'll be drinking my beer. Cheers to that. Anyway, the police sent one of my friends into my house when we were doing heroin, and he got some off of me, and there you go. He's one of my really close friends, whom in return I bought drugs from as well. One hand washes the other.
Right,
so.
that's it. But that's not a drug. I hate that shit. It's like, I'm not going to a drug dealer's house to buy drugs. I'm like, hey, Tim, I need beer. Can I?
Yeah.
You got a 12-pack in your fridge? Like,
Yeah.
I'm shy until Monday. Yeah, I got a 12-pack. I'll give you a 12-pack. And I'll get you back on Monday. So now you got me for selling drugs and you for selling drugs, like if 12 packs were the crime here.
Right, exactly.
Like, that's fucking ridiculous.
Yep. And he sold crack. This guy sold crack.
And he hits you up for heroin because he's like, yo, man, you got some?
Yeah.
He hits you, and then all of a sudden they're like, you're the drug dealer.
He was my friend. I trusted him. We were all using drugs. We were all in a bad spot in our lives. And he was sent into my house, and he got pulled over or something for unlicensed operation. And he rolled on me for that, but I don't really want to get into that.
Oh sure, no sure. This isn't. This is the Amos
Yeah,
the Amos
yeah.
Krause story. This isn't this.
The gist of it is it's
flipping of the.
It's an all too familiar road down. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You get into something. Here
It's
and there.
real. It's
very
real.
real, and it happens way too
And it's
much,
happening,
you know?
and I want to expose it. Like,
I mean, who better to talk to than somebody
Yeah.
who's knee deep in that lifestyle,
Yeah.
is now in and out of the system. You know, it's kind of hopefully coming to the end of that.
I'm hoping.
Like you said,
yeah.
you want to do your 6 months,
I
you'll
want to get my life back.
and get your life back.
I've been
you
off
know?
opiates for 2.5 years. Or,
Right. It's only made
Yeah,
things
2
harder.
years and 4 months.
You know.
It's made things a lot harder, and I'm just trying to get over this hump. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing.
Right. It seems like a manufactured obstacle that didn't need to be thrown in the middle of any of this. You know,
Yeah.
there's enough trouble to be negotiated, to begin with, and then you throw, some zombie pills on top of it. It makes it a million times more
Yeah.
difficult. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I was added, I had it down. Like, I was smoking a lot of marijuana. I had a few beers here and there, and that's what I did. I had it like that, and then they started me in the drug court program, and I had to get off the marijuana and alcohol, and they replaced it with a bunch of mental drugs and stuff, just thinking I'm crazy, just whatever. But that's what they did. So, but anyways, back to the opiate thing. They sent one of my friends in my house. He got a buy off of me, and I went to court, and I kind of, played it out for a little while, got it postponed, adjourned, so they could look deeper.
That's how the system works.
They could look deeper into it. I even got a threat from the kid who, from my friend, so-called friend, who came in and wore the wire. He called me up. He made a threat to me, threatened to kill me. I recorded it because I have a microphone handy. I have all the studio stuff, so I just pressed record. I saw the number coming up, and I recorded it. He threatened me, all this stuff, and I presented that to him as well. So that kind of got my stuff dropped down a little lesser to, a lesser punishment. And so I got drug court for that, and that's where it all happened.
They wouldn't let him off because they didn't get a conviction yet. That's
Exactly.
It's the nature of it.
Yeah. So, and that's where all this went up and down, and like, it was crazy. It's been more of a roller coaster. The time I had while I was going to court, waiting to get sentenced and waiting to see what happened, I had more control of my life than I did in drug court.
Right.
On all those medications.
Sure.
And not having them consistently. They put me on all these medications, hired my dose, and all of a sudden there's problems with authorizations, all this and that, all these meds I'm getting put on, and I'm having to go off them cold turkey. I even expressed it to the judge, I expressed it to the coordinators, and I said I'm going my own route because I've had to self-medicate already. So I went my own route, and I got approved for medical marijuana, and they did not like that. So
Of course they don't.
not
Because
at all.
Because one minute you're the criminal in court, right?
Mhm.
You're the guy that hey, I'm in my shackles, and then
They have control over you.
but then they turn around and they say, well, this guy's a victim. Let's subscribe you into drug court, right?
Mhm.
But then all of a sudden, hey, I found something that's actually working. I've got a doctor that's backing me up, and I'm not gonna. I don't want anything bad. I don't want to. I don't know. It's just. I don't want. I don't want the. I don't want all the anxiety, all the crap, and I'm willing to still participate in the drug court. The thing that you're saying, I'm a victim, and so I should, I should seek comfort in the court system, and a certain aspect of it isn't working for me, but I found something else that's better. Nope, I'm sorry, you don't qualify for this program anymore. You stand in front of a judge, and now you're the fucking criminal again. You're the guy back in shackles. Like, okay, nope, you're a criminal now. Nope, sorry, you wouldn't play by our fucking rules,
And
which is kind of bullshit. It's
I'm
all
gonna sit.
fucking.
What hypothetically, like say you didn't smoke marijuana and use alcohol to cope with the. What if you said, yeah, I'm fine, cold turkey. You don't have to give me anything. What do you think their reaction would be? It's like, well, that's not going to fly because here our program is to get you medicated.
Yeah. Well, they refer you out to these agencies.
And then those agencies are
and they
private.
just
These are
They
physicians.
throw you pills left and right. Yeah, they're
Gotcha.
yep. They're practicing.
So they're gonna steer you into taking something, no
but
matter
it's okay.
what.
You know, people can take Suboxone and methadone. It's okay.
If these doctors were able to prescribe marijuana to you, I'm sure you would have been sent to that agency.
It's like, why didn't I get prescribed marijuana when I have a doctor saying I can't have it?
Gotcha.
Like, Suboxone's okay. Look at all the side effects from that.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Well, and I don't think any of that stuff is.
Yeah,
No,
just
it's
I mean,
not
he hit the nail on the head. They don't know anything about that.
I did it
been on the
naturally.
market
I
for
wasn't
just a few
drinking.
years.
Right.
I wasn't drinking. I was just smoking marijuana. I did it naturally.
Right.
Something that grows out of the ground. Let's. Yeah. Versus we could take heroin and mix it with bleach.
Yeah.
Let's call it fucking. Let's God
knows what.
Blairowin.
Suboxone is heroin, pretty much.
Yeah. I mean, our
I know that. That's but you mix that shit with bleach. It's still a poison.
Exactly.
drug patents even public. I mean, obviously, patents would have to be private for intellectual property laws. You don't know what's really in there or what they're supposed to do.
Yeah.
But just like you said, they're guinea pigs. These are only a couple decades old, so they don't really know the long-term effects, especially societal, when it's just flooded our population. You know?
There's a lot of drugs that they used to prescribe in the 60s that got taken off the market 30, 40 years later. There's a lot of those.
Yeah, Coca-Cola had to take cocaine out.
Exactly.
Sure, yeah, they're going to make adjustments. You only figure that out on the fly. You have to put it into the masses.
They're documenting what's
I had
happening.
Just like you said.
I had a great idea for wing sauce about 5-10 years ago. I was like, man, you know what? If we just take this wing sauce, it could be somewhat tasty. We just mix a little methadone with it and distribute it out to the people. Now everybody loves your wing sauce. Now they're paying fucking like $200 a quart. And
like nicotine. You put like nicotine in your wing sauce.
That was the original premise behind Coca-Cola. We'll give you something that gives you a little bit of a high, and it kind of tastes good. And now you drink it every day, and all of a sudden you have to have Coke.
Yeah.
I need my Coke.
Yeah.
Like you're grating your teeth together, like it's crack. Like it's. Yeah. I don't know. I wasn't actually pursuing this business plan because obviously it's a funny hypothetical little idea. How do you make it sell?
Happening still though.
Right. Like
with all these drug companies, they're funding.
Shit. Maybe I'll sell my wing sauce to the drug court.
I just find it really interesting that like even if say you had. Another hypothetical, a born-again Christian who had found a group of really supportive people that always kept an eye on him, wouldn't let him do drugs or her do drugs or wouldn't let him go down those bad roads. It's like, I really don't need your pills. I have a lot of support here, or, I met an old
Is that part of it?
But what I'm saying, like, is they're still going to make an attempt to refer you to an agency to get you on pills so they can do.
But and that's a thing, right? Like you have to take these pills.
Yeah. Like the doctors put you on them, like.
And if you tell the doctor you don't want to be on any of these drugs, what do they say? Say tough noogies. I'm going to call drug court, and you're gonna get fucked. And you're going to go back to jail.
Kind of, but you have a professional telling you to take these meds, so they're like, I want you to take this and that. Yeah, it is your option not to take them, but it's you're in a bad mental state anyways, and it's like okay. I got put on them. When I first got put on them, yes, I just took them because I thought it was the right thing to do. That's what they're telling me to do. I just thought it was the right thing to do.
Why would a multi-billion dollar pharmaceutical company not care about you?
Exactly.
Like, I don't understand that.
Preposterous.
Drat.
But they're telling me to take these when I first got put on them. So I took them. I kept taking them. They kept giving me more and more. But the first time I went off them, I'm like, there's a problem here. Like I can't be on all this shit.
Yeah.
The marijuana was fine.
It's like Tony the bus driver, the guy that's taking all these drugs, and they're all there. One's killing his liver, but it's helping his heart, and the other one's helping his liver, but it's killing his heart, and it's like, where the fuck are they meeting here?
Exactly.
Might as well just not be on any of them.
It's horrible. Like, man, it's scary. Like the things I felt when I came off of them were real scary. Like, I don't know. I just never felt that way before, and then I got put back on them, and because I couldn't deal with it, really. I smoked a lot of marijuana, but I couldn't afford it because, I had to keep buying it. So I was still like off of them, and the things I felt when I didn't have the marijuana to cope were horrible. you know, and marijuana was the best way to cope with it. And so that's why I pursued medical marijuana, so I could I could have it, and I didn't have to spend all this money on pot, you know, and I could
buying it with the markup from
and
the
I have a
underground.
doctor
Black market's always got a high markup.
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
So that's why I did it.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
So I can get off all the bullshit, you know. And another thing I want to talk about after the medical marijuana is how these drug court programs are affecting like the sobriety community, because AA and NA are different. They're self-supporting programs. Okay, they should have no ties to the government at all.
Sure.
You cannot mandate somebody to go to meetings either and have them bring a paper in there and write stuff down that's going to be documented in a government office.
Sure. No,
because that's why the founders of AA put those traditions in place, the rules. You know,
it's self-functioning. It's separation of church and state.
Yep.
A non-for-profit like AA,
it's
which
a spiritual foundation.
Right.
You believe in a higher power, which is God. It's still a spiritual foundation, and
what if you're Jewish and you know? Well, I mean, I guess that's
you can be anything.
What if you're atheist and you've got a?
I think they leave it pretty.
They have a chapter to the
agnostics.
They have a chapter to the agnostics. So,
but
they leave it up to interpretation.
Yeah,
right.
But it's still a spiritual program because
the government shouldn't be instilling spirituality in anybody,
exactly.
whether you're in a program or not.
Yeah. It could go both ways.
Right.
Yeah. So it should be separate. They cannot do that. Listen to this. My stepfather, he's a good man, and he has been in AA for over 30 years. Okay, and he's used that. He's a Christian as well. He's a pastor, and he's used the AA program to help him out with his sobriety, and for 30 years. You know, and having all these people sent to AA, he agrees with me, it's a distraction. You know, these people that don't want it. Because the only requirement for AA membership is the desire to stop drinking, to stop any desire to stop using.
Right.
Okay? You cannot force somebody into sobriety. And when they're forcing people into sobriety, they're sending people into these meetings that don't want to be there, that are very negative, and it messes with the whole thing.
Oh, of course, yeah, because you got people that are being mandated to go there.
Yeah.
Great point. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, like
people,
that's an awesome
nodding
point.
off in the middle of a meeting on Suboxone. And when you're trying to get sober and you look at a dude like that,
that's not helping anybody else out.
It pissed me off.
The courts are actually causing more people to be relapsed.
Sure.
That's how I look at that. If a program's out there being independent, trying to help people, and they're just sending a bunch of and I'm sure there's a lot of people that are corrupt in the system. They're just like, I can get off. They want to continue to use the drug, and they're like, I can get off on this drug charge they bogusly charged me on, and all I have to do is sign up for drug court, and drug court's like, yeah, you just got to go to one of these 10 meetings, and they send you there, and you're like, I just got to fucking sit through this, like it's like a fucking DWI class, like I can drive again.
You have to go to 4 a week.
Yeah, that's fucking easy.
Yeah,
you know,
you gotta
it's
go
easy,
to 4
especially
meetings
because
a
there's nobody. Is there anybody at an AA meeting that's like writing the court and saying you just bring the roster, right?
You have to bring a paper in there,
and then somebody's gonna sign it.
Yeah, that's illegal too.
Yeah, isn't it called Alcoholics Anonymous?
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be the Alcoholics Support Group. You know what I mean? Official.
Violates the First Amendment.
Yeah. To be
right to privacy or whatever.
Yeah. So there's no amendment for that. It's just an I believe they portray it to the First Amendment right, but it was an inferred. It was an inferred right. Yeah. The right to privacy was inferred, just like the right to travel. Originally, way back then, I took constitutional law. Like you have the right to vote in your state and federal elections and stuff like that, but there was no determination. Where are you, as a citizen of New York, are you allowed to travel to Pennsylvania? Are you allowed to relocate to Pennsylvania? You know what I mean? That's one of those things that they and then later on they had to go in front of the Supreme Court and said that you have the right to travel. Right. You have the right to relocate. Now states can put restrictions. You're not officially a resident unless you're here for 6 months, or a year, or whatever. You know what I mean? So that came later. But yeah, sorry to go off on a little fucking
You're
Okay.
good. You're good.
A little wormhole there.
Yeah, right.
In honor of Stephen Hawking, we had a wormhole.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah, rest in peace.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm just saying it's had a big effect. I've seen it. Like, I've seen people in the program because even before I was on drug court and forced to go to meetings, which is wrong, I went to AA a lot with my stepfather. You know, he took me to meetings. I had sober time. You know, I've always had a problem with alcoholism. You know, but I drink a few beers, whatever. But I go for help, you know, like when it gets too much, you know, when it's affecting my life, even with drugs, when they were affecting my life. I went to AA with my stepfather, and it worked. You know, I had support, like people around me, like strong support. It did help, you know, like late at night when you want to drink.
When you don't have a family member to call.
Yeah.
Like when I'm stressed out about shit, I call family members, I call
Seriously.
coworkers. Sometimes I call some of my customers. Like, you know what I mean? I call somebody that I know will relate to it. And sometimes, like, I have a better support network than a lot of people out there. People that will actually pick up the phone, and a lot of people don't have that. And that's where, and you need that. Exactly.
You want to fill that void of that time you're going out and drinking with your buddies.
Right.
You know, I love to drink at night with my buddies.
Right.
But you call your buddies and you're trying to stay sober. What do you
It
call?
doesn't
You
work
come on
that
over to
way.
my house. Have
When
beer.
you go hang out with your buddies, you're gonna drink anyways.
Yeah, not to
But,
mention, you know, people that you know have been drug addicts and alcoholics in the past, you know, have alienated a lot of people that would otherwise care about them. You know, so they're not a resource to, you know. So these meetings are a lot of the foundation
Trying to find
of what
that
they
common
have,
ground.
you know,
Right,
their
yeah.
foundation of support. You know, and until they can, you know, repair the relationships that they screwed up in the past. You know, that's really
making
what they
amends.
have.
That's one of the things. That's one of the
Right.
steps in AA.
Yeah,
Making
you gotta
amends.
follow. You gotta.
But that's a later step because they want to get to the basics first.
Yep, you stand
You
up
know?
and face the music, but it's it's very daunting. You know, it could be very very intimidating. It's like, oh, geez.
Oh yeah, it's very.
I was like, God, I'm gonna feel this big. You know, when I get in front of my grandma, who I took some money out of her purse, or so on and so forth. All the little piddly things you did over the years to hurt them, you got to have to atone for, and that can be huge.
Right.
You know, so when you've alienated the people that would be around,
Especially with drug addiction. If you're, I mean, that's,
shit.
there goes, maybe grandma
don't
was the
wanna
one
be
you
around
talked
her.
to all the
Yeah.
time about
No
every
offense-
other issue.
no offense to you.
You can't talk to her about this because she's uber,
Yeah.
she's
Yeah.
uber set in her ways. My grandparents were always super Christian, and they
Yeah.
were just,
By
you know
the
what I mean?
book.
You tell them anything that was out of the ordinary. You couldn't talk to them about anything that
Exactly.
wasn't like, by the book.
Yeah.
But if you talk to them about a real life problem, like where should, where do I go for college? When should I have kids?
Who
When
wants to put up with a fucking drug addict? Other drug
Exactly.
addicts, you know what I mean? They're obnoxious and they're dirty. You know what I mean? They're like, no offense or anything, but like,
Yeah.
and it's the way it is. It's a different world, you
Right.
know?
Totally different world.
So,
Yeah.
yeah,
I was
so
at
you need a
rock
recovering.
bottom.
Yeah, you
You
need a
know?
recovering rock bottom
Yeah.
drug addict to talk to.
I hit
Somebody who
rock
says, "So we
bottom.
can do this together."
I hit
Right,
rock
it's
bottom, and
possible,
one day,
you know what I mean?
I was at so rock bottom, like I totally hit rock bottom. I felt like shit. I was smoking a lot of heroin, and I didn't have any when I woke up. I could have went and bought some. I could have, but I just felt that I had the desire. I wasn't forced. I went to detox myself and got off of it. But that's the only key to sobriety is the desire. You have to want it yourself. You cannot be forced into recovery.
Right, and
I
I've
don't
talked to
care.
so many people that have told me that.
Yeah, because you'll have people in jail that don't want to be off the shit. Like they're talking about doing, going out and just banging some more dope or smoking some more crack. They don't have the desire. But at the time being, they're forced into that. They get envious and they want to use even more. You cannot force an addict into it. They have to make the decision themselves. They have to.
I want to ask
all in your mind.
one question. You're for the legalization of marijuana, and so
Yes.
am I, 100%.
Yes.
What do you think as a recovering addict who's looking to use that as the way out of that? What would you feel about just a comprehensive legalization of all drugs?
All drugs? I don't agree with all drugs being legal at all.
Like anything processed, like heroin or cocaine or
Yeah,
pills,
well, cocaine's
crack.
processed anyways. You get cocaine
Yeah,
it's
it's not
processed.
the leaf.
It's manufactured.
Yeah, it's not the leaf.
Heroin's manufactured, so I'm not
crystal
really.
meth.
They're sending
Yeah.
you chocolate.
Something that's something
Chocolate by
that's
the leaf.
that's manufactured, processed, or whatever. But
Manufactured shit.
a bud of marijuana grows out of the ground, or a
Yeah.
potted plant, or you know what I mean. It's
Yeah.
it's natural.
Yeah.
Right.
It's been that way since whatever it started growing. You
If
know
it's
what I mean?
meant-
Beer's processed.
Yeah,
That's
well,
true. That's
Alcohol
true.
is
That's a great-
processed because
that's a
they've got
good
to
point, yeah.
the same way with cocaine. They've got to cultivate it out of the plants.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
pretty
essentially.
elaborate process to make beer or
And
whiskey
wine
or anything
and-
like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Sure, that's a great point, but as it stands right now, it's legal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's kind of on the sidelines of the
Sure.
discussion,
Yeah,
you know what I
and
mean?
something that's so detrimental to society, like an opioid.
Yeah,
Something that
that's-
fucking
Alcohol,
starts
yes.
making you.
Yeah, it's,
I mean, and alcohol is a big deal. A lot of people don't, but it
Kills
doesn't.
people,
It
but-
does kill people, but
Kill
then
my
it's only
body.
because and only because it's abused and people don't have the respect that they do in other countries. And I have a big issue with that too. Where like you go to Europe and like 6-year-olds are having a glass of wine with dinner and they understand the appreciation. Where everybody in America is like binging at the age of 12.
Yeah.
Like, let's go waste it with our friends.
Can't
Like,
wait till you get 21.
yeah, I can't wait till you hit 21, and then it kind of slows down a little bit, or you go full blown.
Yeah.
Like that's, you know what I mean, and that's kind of what it is, and that's more of a societal thing.
Yeah.
Not really a drug thing where like you can try heroin twice and be fucking strung out, and your synapses are like, I need this.
Yeah.
Every fucking
Yeah.
cell in your body is.
yeah, they're quote unquote chasing the dragon, like we were saying.
Yeah.
Like you're always chasing that first
First high.
that first high, that
Yeah.
first time you felt it, where it's beautiful.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're like, holy shit, I gotta.
That's why I never became a full blown alcoholic. Because,
Yeah.
yeah, my first time was the Beast. I mean, that's
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Beast
yeah,
Ice.
the Beast Ice. Ugh. Jeez,
I still like it.
I'm not gonna turn anybody down on a beer.
I'll
but-
drink Budweiser, but
Yeah.
sometimes.
I see you drinking water now.
No.
Bud Light.
Yeah.
It's mostly
Gotta watch my figure.
Yeah, it's almost bikini season.
I gained a lot of weight. Like, I quit drinking. Then winter, I was up to 240. I'm like, no, I'm a skinny guy. I can't
Yeah,
handle this.
yeah. It's that hibernation
I can't-
fat. You know
yeah.
what I mean? It's just nothing else to do, but
But them
we'll have
full
beers and
beers,
food.
will pack on.
Stouts
that.
actually, stouts. If you start drinking some, I mean, they cost a little more.
Yeah.
But you start drinking a stout. Stouts have like I think it was 75% of the calories, that light beer has.
Yeah, if you like a slim figure and vicious hangovers, switch the stouts. You know what I
I
mean?
don't have vicious hangovers.
They're like dark beers. I can taste
No.
those all the next day, man.
Oh, well, you can taste them the next day, but that has nothing to do with a
Yeah.
hangover.
Yeah.
They don't do.
Fine, Kev.
I love me an ale, which is part of the stout family. You can,
Right on.
then the stout is an ale.
Mhm.
It's like rectangle. It's quadrilateral. You know what I mean? It's
There you go down the wormhole again. Come on back.
I can wake up next to an ale though, and it tastes better at room temperature because that's how the Europeans always served it. That's when it tastes better. Americans are always putting stouts in freezers and fridges, and it tastes bitter as shit.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh my god, this sucks.
that right?
Yeah, every American doesn't like it. You're supposed to serve it at like a cellar temperature, like 40 degrees,
Like a wine.
42
Slightly
degrees.
chilled.
Something like that.
So yeah, it's slightly cooler, but not like room temperature,
Gotcha.
but not frozen either. Like you're not having it at the rock. You see the Rockies on the bottle of the Coors, like.
Right.
But it also
the cans that switch color.
yeah, and their carbonation is at like it's more saturated, and it doesn't have to be at a more carbon. It's not more carbonated than like a lager.
Yeah.
Stouts are. I don't know if this is the right.
Stouts
term.
or ales or any of them.
It's nitrogen. That's why it's so much lighter.
S-
So
yeah.
you can build a black and tan on top of it. You can take a carbonated Bass ale.
Nitrogen.
It's set nitrogen, carbonated, whatever.
They do a nitrogen CO2 mix. It's about 25% CO2,
Right, so it's a little bit
75.
lighter,
Yeah, exactly. But and that's just. But it's part of their carbonation saturation. Like if you drink an ale, like you can wake up to it the next morning, and it's not as carbonated as a lager, and then like it's not flat the next morning. You wake up to it like 12 hours later,
Yeah.
and it's still carbonated.
Right.
It takes a while to lose that. Wormhole, right? Let's.
Right,
I'm sorry, but
Yep.
hey, we're trying to teach the public something. You know?
Right, yeah.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Public service.
So,
Yeah, it's just had a negative impact. Like a lot of people have seen it that have been in the program for a while. I seen it firsthand. I seen this kid. He was like 4 years into sobriety. And he didn't do it through the drug court program. And my phone's ringing. Sorry. He hooked up with somebody. linked up with somebody from drug court. You know, they started going to meetings together, riding with each other, and then brought them down. You know.
Right. Now, is it true that somebody can? I guess this is. Somebody told me that, like, because you were talking about smoking heroin.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever shoot it up?
No.
Okay. So somebody told me that heroin is like they smoked heroin and they were like, oh, what is everybody fucking talking about? This shit's bunk. It makes me taste like garbage. It's not addictive. Whatever. And then finally one day he shot up and he was like fucking hooked. And it was like the thing. And that's what. I guess you don't have both perspectives, so maybe
it hits your bloodstream instantly. I've seen people shoot up.
Well, no, I know, but you haven't done it, so I guess the euphoric feeling.
Yeah,
I guess
you get that. You'll get the same thing out smoking it.
Okay.
They just didn't smoke it right. You just gotta.
Okay. I didn't know if that was just a misnomer. I didn't know.
Yeah.
I've only heard it from one person about that
well,
topic, but
it takes like 2 more minutes to hit you, probably.
Oh, okay.
It hits you instantly when you shoot it, obviously.
Yeah, who wants
because
to
that's instant
fall asleep with a needle in there?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm taking blood. Like,
and you can't tell if it's strong or not.
Yeah.
You know? Like when I smoked it, I'd probably smoke some stuff that could kill you. You know, if you had enough of it, but you'll feel it and you'll know when to, you know.
the one to back off.
But
That's
if you shoot up, I mean, like, it's done deal.
I'm not encouraging anybody to use heroin. At all.
Nobody here is. I mean, that's.
Yeah. I don't want to use opiates ever again, but who knows? I could. You know, it's always there. Like, I could, but I just don't want to. That's why I smoke marijuana. You know, I have that. I get rid of that mind. You know, that anxiety and stuff that makes you want to do dope, and I've used marijuana instead. Had a couple drinks, smoked some heavy indica, and I'm good. If you smoke heavy indica, that has the same effect as opiates. A lot of the same effects as opiates, but not as intense, and it's not physically addicting. So
what's indica? I'm sorry.
Indica. It's like the marijuana, like the it's a strain of marijuana that.
It's kind of like how people say that
indica,
sativa is
there's
like
sativa, like
kinda.
it kind of gives you energy, more mental,
right.
More mental, like focus, stuff like that. Indica, that's the stuff you want at night. That Like,
oh, okay. So the indica,
the
indica is nap time stuff. Sativa is coffee.
That when you use heroin, you're nodding off. It has the same effect. It's just not physically addicting. Some of the effects,
Gotcha.
like it gets rid of the mental.
It's toxic either.
It gets rid of the mental thing though. Like
because it's all most of it is
mental.
It's
all
it's
mental.
all up here. It's all placebo.
You get rid
stuff.
of the physical in 5 days. I went to detox 5 days, and it was all mental after that. Like mental, high anxiety. Like I hurt a little bit, but I could deal with it. So I just smoked a lot of pot, drank some beers.
Yeah, I'm
good since.
I'm like actually I'm not fighting with it, but I've given up, not giving up beer, but like on weekends I'm having about 4 beers a day, and 2 beers on weekdays.
Mm-hmm.
1 cup of coffee. I'm having a dehydration issue, so that was the purpose for it. But I'm thinking better, things like that. And I used to come home and just have a 12-pack a night and have 5 cups of coffee in the morning and try to drink water during the day. And I'm not wanting water because it's like you know what I mean. Like so I'm down to 1 cup of coffee a day, 2 beers. Weekends I'm having like 3 or 4, but it's one of those things that like I'm actually like, but like I hear you. Like today I was like, what should I do? I've got a little free time. Like I'm gonna focus on something else.
Yeah,
not drink that beer. You know what I mean?
Sure,
Because that's but a lot of it is the mental thing.
and
it's just
marijuana takes that away. Like if I wake up and I smoke weed, I don't even want to drink. I'll be doing something. I'll feel good, and I won't want to drink, but it gets expensive. Alcohol is easier to get than weed, so it's a lot easier.
Yeah.
But I really don't have an issue. I don't have anything against alcohol. I know it causes a lot of problems. Everything does, but if it's legal, I don't think that a system can tell you not to have it. That's kind of like entrapment.
Right.
It really is.
Right. No, because you got look at the supersize me people.
Yeah.
They have to have their McDonald's.
Exactly.
Like if you started outlawing fast foods.
Yeah.
There's
alcohol at the
store. How many people drink a 6-pack of Diet Coke or 2 liter of Diet Coke every day? You know what I mean?
Doesn't Trump do that? It's like he drinks like a 6 liter. Like that's a.
Yeah, but everybody has their little vices.
No, I mean,
it's just
You need something.
Yeah. I mean, the body's always. I told you this before the show, Tim. Everybody's in a constant need of something. Like you can't say like, oh, you shouldn't have this. Why do you need a crux? Why do you need a vice?
Right.
Well, because the body is always in need of something. Like my vice, everybody's vice is vitamin A, B, C. You need vitamin D from the sun.
Water,
like
sunlight,
you need water. Exactly. I mean, are those vices? Where do you draw the line?
Yeah.
And what's a vice and what's not a vice? You know what I mean? Like, hey, that guy hits I have a cigar once a couple times a year.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
and these handfuls of pills they're handing out to people become a vice.
Well, yeah, they become a vice, and then so that people start at the extreme and they work their way down. But now it's finding the line.
Yeah.
Everything in moderation, right? Like,
Right.
Sorry, take your tagline, Tim.
No, it's fine. To include moderation on sometimes, some
Yeah.
nights,
Yeah, I mean,
getting cut loose every once in a while. I did it many nights. I'd be a hypocrite to say you shouldn't.
Gotta get wild.
Yeah.
I get wild
Sometimes,
too much.
yeah.
this is stale as shit right now. This is stale as shit. It's been sitting here for like weeks. I smoked it when my mom came to town. Me and her were just, we're smoking cigars and just bullshitting, and it's just been sitting ever since. I was trying to find a decent day to smoke it, and it's probably a rock.
Smoke that stogie.
It's time to get a new one.
Waste not, want not.
Yeah.
I'm not much of a religious person. I take the tenets of different things I learned in my life, and I hold the ones that I like.
Yeah.
Waste not, want not.
Common sense, anyway.
Yeah,
the great story.
Yeah, right. Like I don't, I don't murder people. Tip that one too.
You don't really have to tell
I
me
don't
that.
I don't try to. I hold
Yeah,
back from it sometimes.
Right, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's why you talk shit.
That's right.
Talk shit
Right,
instead.
yeah.
You have the right to talk shit.
Yeah, wait for them to try to kill me.
Yeah.
And then when I kill them, it's called self-defense.
Yeah.
And then I get that little vice.
You say your right to hate ends at the end of my nose.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Is that Ben Shapiro?
It could be.
Yeah. So, what the point I'm getting at is, they just need to get everybody off of all these prescription medications that have all these side effects. That's worse than. It's a lot worse than what marijuana can do for you. There's no side effects for marijuana, and it helped me out a lot. So what I did was use marijuana instead, and then they told me I couldn't have it. So I just pretty much said I'm not going to go through with this anymore. I just went off my meds, and I'm off of them now, and I'm just going to go sit my time and just get this over with, and then I'm going to pursue medical marijuana afterwards.
Right. Yeah. You said get it over with. It's been a long, sounds like a pretty long, rough road.
It's a rough road. I just want to get it done.
Yeah, and it's good to see that you do have a light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like you do see, it's like I've screwed up, no doubt about it. You know what I mean. You acknowledge it, you accept it, you owned it, and it's and it seems like the last leg of your journey is coming up. It's like fine, if this is the way you want to do it,
we'll do it.
I'm at your mercy. Then you can just leave me the hell alone. I don't want your drugs. I don't want your help. Just leave me the hell alone. I'll figure it out myself.
Exactly. And that's what they told me. I was doing a good job advocating for myself. So what I'm going to do is advocate for myself.
See, that sounds completely just corrupt and selfish. Oh, you're doing a great job advocating for myself. Is it, well, if I don't advocate for myself, who is gonna?
Exactly.
A bunch of professionals and counselors that want me to buy your drugs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So it's like I don't think they had your best, your welfare as was their top priority. I think getting their referrals up to their doctors who can then write the research for the pharmaceutical companies.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
it's all research.
Yeah. It's like here's number whatever you are to them. You know, I mean the research on this one.
Get this, I was sent to a facility. When you get sent to those facilities, they put you on all kinds of meds because you're coming off whatever it is, whatever your flavor is. You're coming off all these drugs and alcohol.
Cherry White
but
House.
they put you on all this stuff and they have cameras on you. I just look at them cameras and I think, we're just a bunch of lab rats.
Yeah, exactly.
Much. And you're
in your little fish bowl. Seeing how you react.
And they're giving you more and more stuff. They're just pumping you full of meds. Like, get a facility where you try not to give as much meds as possible. You know, like try to have that like the last thing you worry about. You know, worry about their recovery first, rather than pump them full of this and that and substitute this and that.
Just try the Cialis on people.
Tough it out. You know, I used a lot of marijuana, but it hurt. You know, a lot of people couldn't get past that.
Right.
What would you think as somebody that's been down that road? You know, if we say, well, let's just side with them. We'll play devil's advocate. You can't use alcohol and marijuana. We were not going to allow that either. We're going to give you a year in jail if we catch you on it. What would be which is reality.
Which is what I did.
Which is exactly what happened. What we were talking about this before. What would be next? Would you try to find something to alter your mind, or like in a chemical way, which kind of smoke is, alcohol is.
Yeah.
You're chemically altered in a way. What are other avenues? Like they're even healthier than that.
Like,
you know what I mean?
I focus on spirituality.
Spiritualism.
Spirituality is a big part of the foundation of the self-supporting AA program and NA program. It's all spirituality is very fundamental.
Right.
I do have spirituality. Like I read a lot of the Bible, and it does relax me. I'll read it. I'll read scriptures when I wake up in the morning. Something, and take it in, and then I'll look for that like in my everyday life.
Right. Right.
So.
Well, goal setting, different experiences that you kind of robbed yourself of, by being kind of shackled by your addictions. You know what I mean? Maybe there's places you wanted to go, or an instrument you wanted to learn, or a book you wanted to read, or
I play a lot
something
of music.
Like that. Yeah, you're into music.
I produce music. Like I produce hip hop beats. I play drums. I play trumpet. I do that to unwind. But,
right.
I'm still going to pursue medical marijuana.
Right.
And it should be legal. You should be able to have it at the end of the day. I smoke cigarettes, and they're worse for you.
Yeah. Population control.
You should be able to smoke at the end of the day, or smoke to get through the day.
That's how Prohibition started and ended.
Exactly.
People realized that the government realized that you have to have, everybody needs a small release. It doesn't matter. Nobody needs to be wasted all the time. Yeah. But at the end of a hard day, you should be able to unwind with a beer. That was kind of like the crux of it.
Yep.
But it was like one lobby group that was in the ear of Congress that abolished it, and then when they realized they fucked up, like we're talking like amendments. Like that's big shit. Now the government's working without having to even touch the Constitution because they're fucking tyrannical assholes.
Universal killjoy throughout history.
Yeah.
We all know
the politicians are funded by big pharma too, so they'd rather put you on all these things that give you.
As soon as the marijuana lobby matches the money of the whatever hydrocodone lobby or
exactly.
big pharma lobby, it'll be legalized.
Yeah.
As soon as they buy it.
Yep. I think it would benefit New York very much because there's a lot, and believe it or not, in New York State there's a lot of farmland. There's a lot of land, and you get marijuana farms. Out here.
Oh
there's
Tons
a lot of property for sale, like Mansfield, East Auto area. That'd be the perfect spot.
In fact, we've been working on East Auto lately.
It's just
a lot of nothing.
Boom our economy.
It would 8 months out of like 6 months out of the year.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, but you would do high yields. You would do high yields, and then you would process the second half of the year.
You could do indoor too. In a dispensary, you know what I mean? Somewhere you could store it.
Because you'd vacuum pack that stuff into it.
Yeah.
No, I mean, and I've been talking to a lot of people about that because I think that they're building.
It's inevitable. It's the wave of the future.
You grow better weed up here in the soil than down south, anyways. This is
they've got sand down there. They're closer to closer to the beaches.
True.
So, I mean, that's
Northern California, Western New York's it's a great place to grow pot here.
Yeah. And really I've been even when as soon as I got into politics, I started asking questions. You want to boom an economy? You want to boom this? You want to boom that? And then just recently, another political figure sent me a message talking about a city in California that was very similar to us.
Mm-hmm.
Very similar to us. Like we're talking like down to the budget, like their $15 million budget every year, barely making ends meet. Like having to raise water and sewer rates and having to do everything that we're doing, and then it's like all of a sudden they made it opportune for this company that wanted to come in and invest in land and invest in building a facility in their city, and they did it, and it created like 3 dispensaries, and it went on to make. They're bringing $50 million in revenue now.
Awesome.
$50 million, and like I think their budgetary value needed to go up to like 22 million. You know what I mean? So like you're talking a $6 million increase in cost for a $35 million increase in revenue. Yeah. So I mean like which to a city like Olean, like taxes would drop in half.
Yeah.
Because if you know what I mean, like you wouldn't have to keep taxes so high because we don't have to build like a Taj Mahal. You know what I mean? We don't have to do all these things. We can get in the first couple of years, you could get all the stuff the city wants to do out of the way, and then just boom, like that.
Yeah, get the storefronts filled.
You get squirrel statues. You know what I mean?
Well, I'm talking more infrastructure repairs. You'd be able to maintain certain buildings that have like kind of been put on a back burner. We'll get it in 5 years. You know what I mean? Things like that. You could get it all squared out of the way, then drop taxes, and then just keep on a financial budgetary plan where you can keep maintaining stuff and knowing that your economy is prospering. And that's really what it comes down to. If economy is shitty, guess what? Taxes have to go up. And people leave. And that's what really sucks.
That's why everybody's leaving upstate New York.
That's why everybody's leaving upstate New York. And we're also having to fund downstate New York.
Yeah,
so that's,
exactly.
I mean, like, that's...
taxes
we might as well start growing all their weed.
Do taxes necessarily have to go up, or should it be spent more judiciously? Should we be better stewards of our money?
We do, but they wouldn't. I mean, they have to go up because there's less people paying taxes. So you have to increase it to buy the cost.
There's less people using the services.
Right, but there's still the same number of streets. So you get down to that bare minimum. Like, our streets are designed to handle anywhere from 10 to 30,000 people or 45,000 people. And, you know what I mean?
So you got to keep everything up. So
you got to keep it up so that when it influxes back from 12,000 to 22,000, we still have those streets.
If that house is still there, nobody's renting it, you got to keep it up, keep it looking nice, or tear it down.
Right.
Let it match all these abandoned houses.
Right.
Seriously. Tear them down, rebuild.
And shit, that's
sad but true.
I mean, like if you dismantled those houses, and took whatever you could use out of them. You know what I mean? There's got to be some sort of...
You can salvage a lot.
Yeah, there's got to be some sort of salvage. There has to be some sort of value. You have a nice, clean lot.
My friend and I, we tear down barns and we resell the wood, so... you could do that.
Right, but two guys...
Stuff.
Right. Two guys tearing down a house, though. See, the problem is 2 guys tearing down a house takes a lot of time. Yep. Like, versus a lot of people have brought this up. Like, well, what if you tear down a house and, like, isn't there, like, copper wire in the walls? And that you can just, like, tear right through the drywall? It's like, you could. You could do that, but these guys are getting $10 an hour. You're not pulling... The hour worth of tearing copper out of a wall isn't $10.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Oh, so they'll take that copper.
Well, no. That's why junkies and people like that break into houses to steal it, because they're looking for a fix and they don't have a job. They have no source of income.
Sure.
They're not getting $10 an hour to pull $4 of copper out of a wall. So that's,
or living there. You know what I mean? Or posting up there. You know what I mean? So,
but you can't leave hazards like that.
No.
Yeah,
you get people going in there to get the copper, and what if it's not up to code? They fall through the floor.
Right. Yeah. That's why you see all those red. That's why you see all the red boxes with the 1 or 2 slash on.
Yeah, they start smashing through things like they hit the right, beam or whatever. You know what I mean?
Like, structural repairs. That's that's
coming down on top of them. These things are rickety.
Yeah.
Man.
Now we're going into a little bit of a rabbit hole here, but something.
Whatever.
No, I wasn't going to wrap it up. I was actually going to.
If anybody's listening and has a similar story, like that, we'd love to hear from you.
Come forward. Bring them on the show. You're not alone.
Right.
I'm going to be starting a group here, my friend Luke and I, on legalizing marijuana in New York State. I support Joel Giambro, I really do, and what he's doing research on it. Cuomo said he wanted to do research on it, so...
see if that comes to fruition.
Giambro's already doing it.
Right, yeah.
Cuomo's funded by, the bad guys, I think. So that's what I've been following him.
Now Luke's not going to get in trouble for being for starting a group.
We'll just bleep his name out.
I didn't say I didn't say his last name, so it's fine. It's I don't even think that's really a rule. Like, we used your first and last name. Obviously,
you can use my name all you want. My name's been dragged through the mud. I was the bad guy in the newspaper. So
right. Well, what's what's the Luke on suspension right now for?
He doesn't. He didn't want that on the record. So
Oh.
I already talked to him about it. We'll talk to it. We'll talk about it off the record.
Okay, not a problem. Well, I wanted to point so I hope he's careful with his whole pursuit of legalized marijuana.
Well, hey, you have the right to say what you want.
No, you should.
Your
You should.
job. It shouldn't affect your job at all.
I get in a lot of arguments on like my
You know?
second video because I talked about the guy who got fired from the local newspaper for speaking his mind. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't care if you're not at work, like, get out of here.
Yeah,
Like,
we're just sitting here. We're having a few beers as men. We can say what we want.
You
We
watch
can
or not,
record it.
you know?
We can put it out there. Anything.
well, I'm actually self-identifying as a jelly bean right now, so I don't know if you noticed the color of my pendant. Skin didn't change to blue, did it?
No.
Okay, I was a blue jelly bean for a minute.
I'm a red one.
So, but yeah. Well, before we wrap it up, I wanted to talk about this. When I first got into politics, I also brought this up because I found out New York is a home law state, and so I had to do some research on this. And I said, this was the thought originally, and then it evolved into it's not plausible unless you have the state support. Was a state law can trump, can trump any, or a local law can trump any state law.
Mm-hmm.
So what if our city had adopted to be a legalized marijuana, and everybody's like, and the people I talked to were like, well, what if your police budget would triple? Like, no, it wouldn't.
You're allowed to do
We're
that?
legal inside of these realms. It's all the other police budgets that would
Yeah.
increase.
Yeah,
that
but-
doesn't make the shit on us. So you literally could within the city you could grow pot and sell it, and people would come here from all over the fucking country.
Right.
Because we would
We
be
have a lot
the.
of bums here. I don't know if you've ever.
But you would the bumps would disappear, or
What?
no, because you got to think.
Multiply. Are you kidding me?
Well, no, because because you still have to buy pot.
Yeah.
Right.
So like hardworking Americans that want to go and grow it, and I mean it's just it's one of those things that you'd start increasing your population because people would this is a safe haven. This is a place where you could come, you could buy it, you could smoke it, you could help grow it, you could start a dispensary. People are influxing money to now invest in your area because now you're making crump. Mm-hmm. See what I mean? Like, so that it's bringing tons of jobs into the area, and it's bringing tons of, money, increasing the economy. Just boom. It's there. And so the other police departments have to like up their budgets so that people don't like walk out, you know what I mean? But or so they don't walk outside the line. They're posted up like it's a state border. You know what I mean? Like, you search your car, sir. Like,
Just come here and party.
yeah, right. So
spend money at the bars, buy
But-
some food. They're gonna get the munchies.
exactly. No, like,
Everything's gonna be.
no, exactly because you got to think that with
Pizza
that.
shop.
Yeah.
Like with that, yeah, because somebody's working a dispensary all day, that maybe they just want to go take their they want to put their kids in school here. You know what I mean? They buy a house, they got to fix their house. So I mean, like by increasing your economy, increasing draw to your area, a big Louis Black said, a big fucking thing. The thing doesn't have to be a physical thing. It could be a thing like legalizing pot. I mean that was something I thought of, and I thought it was
catalyst.
yeah, exactly. The catalyst that drives people here. Well, people come here, they're gonna eat, so they're gonna go to the grocery store. They're gonna use the post office. They're gonna buy a house. They're gonna put their kids in school. They're gonna use the library. They're gonna go buy coffee at the the local coffee shop. They're gonna do whatever. You know what I mean? These are different things. And then later I found out that if the state has already ruled on something, you can't make a local law that would be contrary to it. So, yeah, there goes that. But, you know what I mean? Because I even talked with people that could have made it happen at a county-wide level, which would give you more farmland that would be able to produce, and then you would have... Our city is like a major commerce hub in our area, so our area would be... Whew.
Huge.
Yeah, but,
It'd be booming.
Yeah, so, but that,
Ellicottville too.
Yeah, no, Ellicottville, Olean. These are big places that would benefit from it. Yeah,
we all would.
Yeah, I mean,
seriously.
shit, what other
And
states
you know what
nearby?
we have a lot of farmland around here. We're gonna have the freshest weed.
Yeah. Who's
We grow wine and weed.
wine and weed? Yeah, the WW.
Yeah.
What other states around us have like have legalized marijuana?
Vermont.
Yeah, Vermont is
Massachusetts. Half
Vermont.
my family's from Massachusetts.
Vermont and Massachusetts.
Yeah.
Those are the two.
California's got to be the. I know they're not around
California,
us, but they've got to be the
but
least
around
least
us, like
strict.
bordering us. Massachusetts.
Pennsylvania's super strict.
They just
aren't
medical.
Oh, but medical, but only medical, right? They're
Yeah, but
like you get caught with like a paper clip
yeah.
benched into
You're
a
going to
roach
jail.
clip in your car. You're going to felony
You're
charges.
going to
Like
jail. No, it's misdemeanor, I think. It's not even a misdemeanor in New
Yeah.
York anymore, so it's decriminalized. I got caught with marijuana when I was 21.
really?
Yeah, I got charges from that, but it's decriminalized since, you know. So the possession I had then was a misdemeanor, and now it's a violation, actually, because it got decriminalized.
Huh.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean those are the two things that I was thinking of. Was like I mean. Tim had to go to the restroom, so you noticed. Yeah, no, I had to go back to a scene where like you don't see everybody, you know, or you get to see everybody and somebody's missing. So, but I mean, what if you clip back to a scene, or what if you, like, I don't know, like if no Vermont and Massachusetts, are they right on the border of us? I haven't looked at a map. Vermont is. So
yeah, so is Massachusetts.
Yeah, so is Canada. You
Yeah,
know,
so
like
is Canada. So is well, it's going to be legal in Connecticut soon. You know,
the first ones that do this are the ones that create the hubs. And I mean, like, if we're the last ones to fucking do this, we're gonna be the last ones seeing the benefits. We're gonna be the last ones doing this. We're gonna be the kid that, you know, that wasn't left behind, but they still have to work their ass off to get a fucking head.
Exactly.
And that's kind of what it comes down to. So, I mean,
it's kind of, I don't know. We need to get on the ball. Giabra wants to. He's from upstate New York, so he's doing a lot of research. If you look into it, he said we could make $500 million a year profit.
yeah, oh yeah, and that's. I was just telling him, if we were the last state around us to do it, you know what I mean? We're not going to be a hub. We're going to beat Connecticut.
We'll beat Pennsylvania.
We'll beat Pennsylvania because, I mean, we're the God's country. Isn't that what they call it? It's God's country, and like a lot of the marijuana stuff happens to be. I don't know. I always feel that it's a lot of religious people are like against change. You know, it's
you have some. You know, you have Philly, Pittsburgh. You have a lot of
I used
metropolitan areas there too.
That's true.
I lived in Pittsburgh.
You know, it's not like these. You know, these.
I've heard of people like smoking joints at, like right over the border in Bradford and.
Yeah, it's not like people that live in rural areas are
you're going to prison. They're talking about like fuck you in the ass prison for smoking a joint in public. Like those are always the stories I hear. You know what I mean?
I never heard that. I didn't know they were that strict.
Yeah, they're strict. They're pretty strict.
You can't.
Well,
you can't. If you have a bong that has just shisha in it, which is the what is it?
It's the resin.
That's Indian tobacco. Or whatever. It's from India.
Really?
It's the shisha. They smoke it in the hookahs
the hookah
and stuff.
shit.
Yeah, you could have a hookah that has hookah in it. You know, like that's drug
You're
paraphernalia.
not allowed to have that.
Yeah, like that's the shit that they get you. Like. But I mean, if we're the last ones to do this, then I mean we're gonna be the kids in. We're gonna be the kids left behind. You know, the ones that that weren't left behind, but they still have to bust ass to get it set up, and that's. I don't know. I'd like to see our economy thrive, and it's the outside the box thinking that's gonna do this, and it's not. You know.
The chief of police of Salem got back to me on my letter too that I wrote about it, and he said that they are in the process of making a breath test to tell when you last smoked. That's another reason why they don't want to legalize it, because they don't want people driving under the influence. So they're in the process in California working on that. So
but
that's what they're waiting for.
I mean, if you got the flu and you know what I mean, like you ever have the flu and you're so sick that you couldn't drive, you're delusional and shit.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
That is the same thing. They have a test for that.
Mm-hmm. Well, they still give you. They have a test for people that have taken a handful of opiates and got behind
Yeah.
You have the wheel?
Well, yeah, because opiates are in your system for 3
Just
days.
a blood
Yeah,
But the blood
a
test,
blood
the cop's not
test.
going to sit there and prick you with a needle on the side of the
Yeah.
road.
Yeah, if you get in an accident and go to the
The ER, they do
the ER, they'll find out.
So you have to get into an accident.
You have to get in an accident.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much.
So how many kids you going to run over, pull in your driveway, and you know what I mean?
Yeah, they ain't gonna give you.
Because
a blood test,
you
know.
people
urine test. They can
because
do that.
opioid addicts aren't like they're not like, hey, it's Friday night, it's after 5, let's go shoot up heroin. No, they're like 10 o'clock in the morning.
You need it when you wake up. You need it. Right, away.
Right, yeah. You wake up, you're on it all day, and you say, "Fuck, I need to get something for lunch."
Yeah.
And you leave your house at 2:00 in the afternoon, and school lets out by the time you leave the grocery store, and you smoke a whole bunch of kids in a school zone.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I hear that.
so. It's not the drunks at 2:00 in the morning that are
You
leaving
need
a
it
bar
right
that are running over kids because kids aren't
kids
out at
are-
2:00 in the
kids
morning.
around, yeah.
You know, it's
And then there's shady shit going on around schools and shit. Like there's shady shit everywhere. The projects are right across the street from Salamanca School, and there's shady shit going on over there.
of course there
We
is.
don't need that, because opiate addicts get their shit right first thing in the morning. They're doing all them drug deals while them kids are over there in school. That's wrong. I've been there. I've had to go there for shit, but you can't have that. You can't have that shit going on during the day. But if you legalize marijuana, people will have that marijuana to smoke, and they won't, through trial and error, it's worked for me. So, heavy indica.
Olivia wants to know if you have an extra key because they left her out of the vehicle.
Time out.
Oop. So, all right,
Sorry
guys.
if I'm slurring a little
No,
bit.
it's
you're good.
I came off the meds, my tongue's all messed up. It's like been swollen after I got off the antidepressant, so I'm like slurring my freaking shit.
so we yeah, that's my cue to run, but not run. I'm taking my time. So anyways, yeah, that's. I mean, we've covered a good ground today.
Yeah, that was
So-
good. Yeah, that was a good story.
So what are we gonna? You need to plug anything there, Amos? Just
No, not really. I pretty much said what I needed to say, so
eat, smoke, and be happy.
yeah, eat, smoke, and be happy. Legalize it.
Potentially a new group coming out.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah.
What was
I'm
the
gonna
name
work
of
on it. Killbuck Kush Foundation.
There you go.
Got a ring?
Yeah.
It does. Yeah.
for
Sounds
real.
like you're growing it out of the corpses of deer.
It helped me out big time. Marijuana helped me out big time. It got me through a lot of hard times. Got me off opiates. Well, I had to go to detox, but after that, just to cope with the anxiety, marijuana. It's really, there's not any bad side effects. Really, there's, it's natural. Like, it's not manufactured. Like, it's not gonna give you seizures and what else. It stops seizures. It's good. There's a lot more benefits than, there's a lot more benefits to marijuana than a lot of prescription drugs, because they set me through a loop. And I've been through a lot, and I'm telling you what, getting off all them psych meds was worse than opiate withdrawal. Emotionally,
I bet.
very. They change your whole perceptive. They mess with chemicals in your brain, like a bunch of different chemicals. If you look into it,
Yeah.
it's bad news, and it's just companies making money off of you. Companies making money off addiction,
Right.
Off of an epidemic. They're using this to make money.
Well, hopefully,
It's wrong.
hopefully some of the other politicians who didn't get back to you are listening,
Hopefully
watching.
they hear me.
Yeah, hopefully they hear you on here.
Please.
They hear your pleas,
Yeah.
because I mean,
It's been hell.
yeah.
It's been a roller coaster.
So, but all right. Well, hey,
Hey,
Amos,
thanks.
appreciate
Thank
you
you
coming
very
on the
much.
show. I'm glad to have you.
Sure.
We'll see you. Maybe we'll interview you again.
Yeah, like I'm down to come in a couple weeks.
April 15th.
April 15th, yeah.
April 15th.
Yeah,
We'll
last
put on
available.
the- all right, so
For a little while.
That'd be good.
yeah, cool.
I'm down.
Cool.
All right, guys. Well, Life22 signing out. Subscribe to the channel. We'll catch you guys soon.